Hey guys, I'm Greg.
And I'm Ashley.
And this is the Living and Learning Podcast. On this podcast, we speak with fascinating guests to uncover how they've experienced life change by crossing cultures,
Crossing borders,
and expanding their worldview.
So, let's dive in.
Riccardo, I'm excited to sit down with you today and have a conversation just about life in Italy. You're Italian, and you're sitting here with me here in the States as we're at a big conference with the Living and Learning team. I'm really excited you've been able to be here with us for our conference. Today, I want to hear some of your story and then maybe chat a little bit about what students get to experience in Rome and what that looks like for them. So maybe before we get there, could you tell us about some of your story, your growing up years in college and what that looked like for you?
Yeah. Hi, Greg. It's a pleasure to be here. So I'm from Rome, Italy. I was born there 27 years ago, and I always lived there. I grew up there, got to love the city, and thought I was never going to move away from Rome until I did. In 2017, I moved to America. I moved to Indiana, to glorious Indiana, to study at Anderson University, where I graduated in 2019 in Christian Ministries. And it was beautiful because I got to experience what life is like in America, and I got to learn many new things. And then I got to move back to Rome. And so I brought with me some of my experience that I got here. And just as I moved back and tried to figure out my place now in Rome, now that I'm a different person, now that I don't fit exactly where I was before, I had the great opportunity to start partnering and working with Living and Learning, and to try to share some of my experience as a study abroad person with other people that are studying abroad, just the opposite.
Yeah.
So connecting my time in America as a college student to my love for my city in Rome.
That's awesome. Yeah. 3 years in Indiana. Yeah, I'm sure you got to see a lot of just the uniqueness of America and how special our home is. And yeah, like you said, now you're on the other side, welcoming American college students to Italy. Can you tell us a little bit about what day-to-day life looks like for a student who's doing a full semester in Italy? Maybe tell us a little bit about their housing and the neighborhood that they're in. It's pretty cool where students get to stay.
Yes. We are based in a convent. First time I heard the word convent, I was expecting this rocky building on top of a mountain, but it's actually a nice building. It's more similar to an hotel in the center of Rome. It's a building where we are using a whole floor, and every student have their room or their double rooms. And we have our own kitchen, giant terrace. It's beautiful. The classroom is there. And so they get to live together and study together and spend that time together. They can have their alone time too, but we focus on community. And this convent is a very nice, large, safe place in the center of the city. And but not as center as to be a touristic place. It's actually placed a little bit outside of the monument circle. It's in a place called Pigneto, which is the neighborhood where it is placed, and it's a very nice, authentic neighborhood when people can experience, the students can experience an actual Italian life, day-to-day life, not just the touristic aspect, but what does an Italian do? What does the grandma who goes to do the grocery in the morning do? And the students get to experience that, and everything is walking distance. They can walk to the grocery, they can walk to open air markets, they can walk to the gym, they can do anything just by walking around. And for many of them, it's a new thing, being used to driving everywhere. And they can experience new rhythms with that, new spaces, and so in Pigneto they can really get the full authentic experience of the Italian life.
How close is you've said it's in the city center,
yes,
but not in ancient Rome with all the very, very historic sites that we know. it's a few stops away on the subway. Is that right?
Yeah, it's a very completely different neighborhood, but the metro is just outside the convent, and in 15 minutes with the metro line, they get near the Colosseum, the Forum, and all of those places. So it's super well connected, but outside.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, and then you were also talking about the convent that students get to stay in. And yeah, you mentioned it's not like isolated on a rocky hill. It's in the neighborhood. It's 4 stories. One of the questions that I get asked a lot are there actually nuns at the convent?
There are 3 wonderful nuns. They work at the convent. Some of the sweetest people I've ever met, and they welcome the students, and they try with their very, very little English to communicate with them. But yeah, they work at the desk there.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, I wanted to hear a little bit about how students can engage locally, either in Pineto or maybe some of the other neighborhoods. Part of your responsibility as the assistant director is to help students with service learning or local engagement. What does that look like?
Yeah, there are so many ways in which students can connect. They can just participate to activities and make friends and just know peers. They just look different from them and they experience life different. And they have so many ways in which they can also contribute. And we have this service learning program in which they can find their area of interest and find a way to be also useful to do something for the context in where they are. And students love to do this because they get to, okay, I've taken a picture of the town. Now I want to leave the town, and this is a way they can do that. Sometimes they choose. We have opportunities for them to connect with families to help maybe the children with learning English, or there are other opportunities for like non-profit organizations locally that they prepare meals for refugees and homeless people near the stations. There are other opportunities, for example, to serve more in nature. So there are public gardens and parks where students can partner with the local guide there and the local leader that helps them and teaches them how to take care of nature or plant a tree or all of these things. And we are now also creating an opportunity to connect with families and kids. Since very close to the convent, just the other side of the block, there is a free soccer field that was donated to the neighborhood. And it's a very rare thing in Italy because they are always private, but this time they wanted to donate something just for the kids that are walking by and want to play soccer. And this field is connected to a couple of different schools of different levels. And so depending on the time of the day, it's so crowded by kids. And we have students go there and just play soccer with the children. And sometimes doing that multiple times, you create connections and you start to talk with them, to talk with the families, and maybe get a chance to connect with them too. So there are many ways and still developing.
Yeah, children, I think, are one of the coolest ways, especially through sport and play, to just jump into a place because they don't care if you speak Italian. They just want to play and have fun. And so, yeah, I love that. Okay, I know a major highlight for students is getting a chance to see some of your home, your home context. So I know during the semester, sometimes at the beginning, sometimes at the end, you bring them to your home church. Can you tell us just what that looks like?
Yeah. We try to connect them with churches as soon as they get there, especially because we want them to experience a different church. How does Christianity embody the Italian culture? And many times the church experience that they get there is very different from what they get home. And we have different options to connect with and also to serve if they want to. But I try to have them come at least once a semester to my home church. Small church near the beach in Rome, outside of the town, and it's a great experience because I get to share what my life usually is outside of living and learning with the students coming with living and learning, and so they get there, they get introduced, they are free to do whatever they want. Sometimes they play, sometimes they sing, sometimes they share a testimony, or sometimes they're just there and just take it in. And and it's beautiful for me to be able to do that, and they usually love it, especially because being near the beach, after church we usually take lunch and eat it by the beach, and hopefully we get a nice sunny day. But it's great because also the church now is expecting the Americans to come every once in a while, and so they're very welcoming, and they love meeting students.
Well, Riccardo, thank you. Thank you for opening up your home and your country and inviting our students into your life. I think it's pretty easy to get on the internet, buy an airplane, go to Rome, walk the streets, and see a lot of the common sites. But what's not easy to do is to sit with local Italians and to be invited in. And so thanks for being that bridge and that connector. You do it really well. And so, yeah, thanks for taking some time to chat today.
Thank you so much.
All right.